This drill costs $55, this one costs $180, and there's a very real chance they came from the same factory. That's not a conspiracy theory, and it's not clickbait. It's the single most important thing the power tool industry doesn't want you thinking too hard about. Because behind the logos, behind the color schemes, behind the macho branding and the Super Bowl ads, there's a web of manufacturing relationships so tangled that even industry insiders struggle to keep track of who's actually building what. Walk into any Home Depot or Lowe's and you'll see a wall of cordless drills, Milwaukee in red, DeWalt in yellow, Ryobi in green, Rigid in orange. They look like competitors, they feel like competitors, but here's the thing. Milwaukee and Ryobi are owned by the same company. Tektronix Industries, known as TTI, is a Hong Kong-based conglomerate founded in 1985 by a German entrepreneur named Horst Julius Pudwill. TTI started life as an original equipment manufacturer, making tools for other people's brands. By 1987, they were producing Craftsman cordless tools for Sears. Then in 1988, Japanese company Ryobi came looking for an OEM partner, acquired a 20% stake in TTI, and started placing orders. By 2000, TTI had bought Ryobi's entire North American power tools business outright, and 5 years later they acquired Milwaukee Electric Tool. Today, TTI's brand portfolio includes Milwaukee, Ryobi, Rigid, AEG, Hart, and several others. Annual sales as of 2025, $15.3 billion, 48,000 employees worldwide. One company, multiple brands, multiple price points, all under the same roof. Now look at the other side of the aisle. DeWalt, Craftsman, Black & Decker, Stanley, Porter Cable, Bostitch, Irwin, Lennox, all owned by Stanley Black & Decker, one American megacorporation that reported $15.8 billion in net sales in 2023. DeWalt didn't even start as its own brand in the modern sense. Raymond DeWalt invented the radial arm saw in 1924 and built a business around it. Black & Decker bought that business in 1960, and then in 1992, they rebranded their professional-grade tools under the DeWalt name to separate them from the consumer-level Black & Decker line. Same parent company, same factories in many cases, different shelf, different logo, different price tag. And then there's a third ownership story that rarely gets told. Metabo HPT, formerly sold under the Hitachi brand, is now owned by private equity firm KKR, making it one of the few major cordless tool lines not absorbed into either the TTI or Stanley Black & Decker orbit. It's a reminder that the consolidation story, as dramatic as it is, still has independent chapters. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. These massive Western brands don't manufacture everything themselves. Over 85% of the world's power tools are produced in China. And in 2024 alone, China's power tool exports exceeded $30 billion, reaching more than 100 countries. The companies doing that manufacturing aren't nameless contract factories. They're sophisticated conglomerates with their own ambitions. Take Chervon Group, headquartered in China. Their chief marketing officer, Joe Turoff, said it plainly. For more than 20 years, we've been the manufacturer behind many of the professional products your readers commonly use today. Name a professional tool brand, and chances are we have designed, developed, or built products for them. Chervon started as a Bosch OEM supplier in 2003, formed a joint venture with Bosch in 2007, and then began buying brands of their own. They acquired the century-old German brand Flex in 2013, launched Ego outdoor power tools in 2014, bought Skill from Bosch in 2016, and they also manufacture Lowe's Cobalt 24-volt cordless line. One company, building tools for premium brands and budget brands at the same time. Then there's Positech, founded by Don Gao in 1994 in Suzhou, China. Positech originally manufactured tools for Black & Decker, but in 2004, Gao decided to go independent and build his own brands. Today, Positech makes Works, Rockwell, Kress, and even licensed Cat-branded electric power tools. A European research firm found that some Works products actually outsell Bosch in Bosch's home market of Germany. As Gao himself put it, it's not very easy to make inroads into well-established markets because customers are very loyal to local brands. But we did it step by step. So the factory overlap is real. But does that mean the $55 drill is secretly identical to the $180 one? Not exactly, and this is where the story gets more nuanced than the headline suggests. Harbor Freight, the American discount tool retailer, makes the claim explicitly. Their marketing says they buy top-quality tools from the same factories that supply our competitors and cut out the middleman. Their in-house brands like Bauer and Hercules do look strikingly similar to more expensive alternatives, but when you test them, the numbers diverge. A Bauer impact driver delivered a working torque of 394 foot-pounds. Milwaukee's equivalent hit 572. In reverse torque, Milwaukee reached 778 versus Bauer's 625. Same factory, potentially. Same tool? Absolutely not. The specifications, the materials, the quality control tolerances, the engineering investment, that's where the money actually goes. And that money compounds through the supply chain. Manufacturers typically mark up 15 to 20% over their bill of materials. Distributors add another 20% on average, sometimes as high as 40%. And by the time a drill reaches a retail shelf with a premium brand name, warranty infrastructure, and customer service network behind it, the price has multiplied several times over. Milwaukee offers a 5-year warranty on their tools. Bauer gives you 90 days. That difference isn't free. There's also the matter of marketing versus engineering, and DeWalt's battery platform is a perfect example. DeWalt brands theirs as 20 volts max. Milwaukee calls theirs 18 volts. Both batteries carry the same nominal voltage of 18 volts during discharge and the same maximum voltage of 20 when fully charged. That's simply how lithium-ion cell chemistry works at peak charge. The difference in labeling is pure marketing. DeWalt chose the bigger number, Milwaukee chose the technically accurate one. Neither is lying, but one sounds more powerful on a shelf tag. And speaking of batteries, this is also where amp-hour capacity, the Ah rating on the battery pack, matters far more than the voltage label. A higher amp-hour rating means longer runtime between charges, and that's the spec professional tradespeople actually argue about. Even made in USA requires careful reading. Stanley Black & Decker labels many DeWalt products as made in the USA, but in smaller print you'll find the qualifier with global materials. They do run several American manufacturing plants, more than Milwaukee does domestically, but globally sourced components are the norm for virtually every major brand. Now, it's worth acknowledging that not every brand fits neatly into this story. At the ultra-premium end of the market, you have companies like Festool, the German manufacturer owned by TTS Tool Technik Systems, whose sanders and track saws retail for prices that make DeWalt look like Harbor Freight. And then there's Hilti, the Liechtenstein-based manufacturer that sells directly to professional contractors through its own stores and sales force, bypassing the Home Depot wall entirely. Hilti and Festool occupy a tier where the engineering gap is less debatable. Their tools are genuinely built to different standards with price tags to match. They're the exception that proves the rule. So what are you actually paying for when you buy a premium drill? You're paying for tighter tolerances, better motors, superior battery chemistry, longer warranties, and the research and development that produced innovations like brushless motor technology. You're paying for a brand that will still exist and honor its warranty 5 years from now. You're paying for engineering decisions that separate a tool rated for professional daily use from one designed for occasional weekend projects. But you're also paying for the logo, for the marketing budget, for the sponsored NASCAR team and the endorsement deals, and for the simple psychological reality that a tool painted red and stamped Milwaukee feels different in your hand than the same basic architecture painted blue and stamped with a budget name, even when the same factory floor produced both housings. The power tool industry isn't unique in this, it's just one of the most visible examples of how modern global manufacturing actually works. A small number of enormous companies, many of them based in China, build the vast majority of the world's tools, selling them under dozens of different names at dozens of different price points to customers who believe they're choosing between fundamentally different products. Sometimes they are, sometimes the engineering gap is real and measurable, and sometimes the biggest difference between a $55 drill and a $180 drill is the sticker on the side. So here's the rule: buy premium when you'll use the tool hard, often, or need it to survive years of daily abuse. That's when the tighter tolerances, better batteries, and real warranty earn their price. Buy budget when the tool sits in a drawer between weekend jobs. For that, the extra $100 is buying you a color and a logo, not more drill. Match the tool to how you actually use it, not to the brand you've been trained to trust.